welcome. As we're going to start just here in a couple of minutes as we let people get settled in from around the world as we're getting ready here, and really excited that everyone could join us at the virtual online basketball clinic. This is day 8 of our marathon, so welcome all. And really excited about this topic and this speaker, and just so much to give. Mihai, as he's getting ready here, is a great college player at Coastal Carolina, and was up at Canisius, and just seeing his journey, and has so much to share. Having been involved in player development and working with players, so much to share. So really excited to get rocking here as what I think going to be a real, if you could pick up, I always go into these and say, if you have a speaker and you could pick up 3 to 5 things from that speaker that you can implement into how you work with your players, how you work with your fellow coaches, then you're really benefiting you and your staff. And I think for sure that you could count on that. You're going to get a great 3 to 5 nuggets here. So pay attention, get pen and paper out. And we've got Mihai here from Toronto, and let's get to it here. And the tip is up. Mihai, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. I want to start by introducing myself a little bit. Most of you might not know who I am. So, I founded No Limit Performance Basketball in Canada in 2008. It's a skill development training business, teams, players, all over Canada, Europe, and China. And I'm also the director of business development for Gannon Baker Basketball. I actually played for Gannon back in the day at Coastal Carolina University from 99 to 2000, and then Gannon left to do his thing. But he's been mentoring me since 2008, and in 2017 I jumped in, and I've been helping him reshape the way his business looks. I'm an adjunct professor at Canisius College in Buffalo, New York. I've taught NCAA intercollegiate compliance, sports marketing, and I currently teach sports finance and entrepreneurship and new ventures in 2 grad level programs, sports admin and sports products. So naturally, everything that I do ended up creating this program of Leadership Through Sport seminars, which takes place in high schools, university athletic departments, and leadership conferences. And that's what brings me here today to share with you all some nice leadership thoughts that you might have heard before, maybe you've never heard before, and hopefully, like Lee said, you can take away a couple things from this presentation. I want to show you a quick video. It's a couple minutes long of what I do, what it looks like, just so you kind of get a visual of what I am on the court and off the court, and then we'll get right into it. So without further ado. I like to say that I'm a motivational educator, I'm a motivational teacher, because I want you to take away things. When I speak to you, I want you to take away stuff that you can actually apply to your life. A lot of people exist. A lot of people are in these stands right now, and they're just here because their school told them to come here, because their teachers made them come here, and that's cool. You know what's not cool? Not living. I call it a near life experience. You're almost living, but you're not fully living. But whatever you do more than what you paid for. Research, grow, don't be stagnant. We don't need followers, we need leaders. We need people to start thinking. People don't want to think. So start thinking and start being a leader. See, when we help each other be leaders, we help each other be better. you need to figure out who you fully are and what you're capable of doing. If you are fully aware of yourself, if you're fully aware of growth, if you're like being uncomfortable, not comfortable, right? Those people can smell it, and those people want to go to battle with you. But if you just show up and you just exist, and you just go from class to class to class, and you worry about what grades you get, right? You're not going to succeed. Those things are just in place for you guys to be guided by your teachers. Your teacher's job is to help you grow, and you're doing a good job of that. But when you're happy, when you love yourself, everything starts growing. Your positivity levels rise. Your creativity levels rise. Your energy every single day rise. You ever see those people? I'm so tired today. Well, you're tired because you're not happy. Simple. You're not happy because you don't love yourself. It's that easy. What's your life story? Where are you at? What are you going to do? Who's going to write it for you? You going to let somebody else write it? Or are you going to write it yourself?
So that's just so you guys get an idea of what I do and how I operate on a daily basis. And before I start any talk, anywhere I go, anywhere in the world, I always ask people in the audience, and you're in my virtual audience right now, is to rank the top 5 things in their life that they love. So rank them in your mind. Don't tell anybody. Don't write it. You can write it down. Don't tell anybody. Don't speak out loud. Just think of the top 5 things, and you got to go in order from 1 through 5 through all of these. I'll give you about 20 seconds to think it through as we move through this. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because there's no need, and I'll show you all that after. But for me, here's my top 5 for me. My top 5 for me are myself, my girlfriend, and children, my ability to impact others, and learning new things, and of course, basketball. So my top 5 are that. And I believe that as coaches, we have a huge platform that's filled with athletes that are ready to listen to us, learn from us. But in order for all of us to make a difference, we got to understand who we are and have our life in check before we can teach it out. And to lead and make an impact, you got to love yourself first. And that's, I've done coaches clinics, and I speak to coaches, and that's, it puzzles them, because a lot of coaches, when I ask, hey, put your hand up if number 1 on your list was yourself, and majority, 95% or plus, don't do that. They don't put their hand up. And I'm challenging you all to figure out, well, what do you need to do to put yourself first? What do you need to do to make yourself number 1? For me, it's simple. It's just making sure I take care of my non-negotiables, and that's eating good food, taking care of my mind and body, and always learning and reflecting. It's a different society right now. Look what we're doing. We're online. We're in a virtual coaching class. The easiest thing to do for us as coaches is to just blame the technology, is to say, well, you know what? Technology is hijacking our brains, and they're turning our players into zombies or sheep or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, we're 100%. We're living in a distracted society. But what that's done for us is it's made us stop paying attention to ourselves. It's almost like some people are bored with their current life, so they're escaping all these portals. And, you know, us making statements like, oh, players nowadays are different. Well, it's a correct statement, because they're different, but they're still human. We can still approach them the same ways. Just because most people are in autopilot mode, and, you know, they wake up 5 days a week and they do the same thing, and they recharge on the weekend, and then they do it again, and, you know, and their life conditions decline, that doesn't mean that we have to be that person. Because when your life conditions decline because you don't take care of yourself, and you're going to lose ambitions for life. You will lose ambition to help those around you. And those around you are your players. And we're not talking about family. We're not talking about friends. We're coaches. So we're talking about our players right now. This is all directed to us as players. And no, they're not different nowadays. They're just not getting a lot of things that we used to get growing up. They're not getting the knowledge that they're getting from real people. They're not getting in everyday life. So yes, in turn, most players and youth and young adults, like those that play for you guys, they go online. It's a place where they can express truly who they are without structure of school setting and parents and coaches and physio and lifting. And it's what they need. They need some place where they can be themselves. However, we have to recognize that that takes away the human piece. And you all know, like, you know, that as humans, we need that live touch with people. We need to have unstructured and structured time with live people in our room. And it's our job as coaches to create that in our programs. Doesn't matter where you coach. Doesn't matter if you're coaching middle school or junior high or high school or NCAA or pro, or it doesn't matter where you're coaching. It's your job. It's your job to create this amazing live space for your players to grow. And how can you do that? Like, we can't do that unless we lead ourselves first. And we need to understand what makes us a great leader. What we read about great leaders, and there's so many books, and so many of us share knowledge with each other. We're doing that right now. But what makes a great leader so damn good all the time? Well, personally, I think that they have a knack of just blending qualities for their advantage. And I want to talk about some of the qualities as a leader that I learned from some of my mentors, but I want you to write this down. And by the way, I can share this, my thoughts. I have notes on this. I can share them with you. I can share questions, and I'll have my contact at the end. But how do you lead? Like, have you ever asked yourself, how do you lead? Where are you right now? Do you lead by position? Sure, a lot of people do. You're just a coach. You rely on the rights that were given to you by your position. Okay. Is it wrong? No, but you got to know it's the bottom floor. It's the bottom floor of leadership. Do you lead by permission? Okay, now you're starting to be a leader because of the simple fact that you have built relationships with your players. Since your players respect you, they're willing to follow you in the battle. All right, so now you're moving up. Now you're a step up. Do you lead by production? You produce results, consistent results. Gannon Baker always tells me good job. The guy never tells me great job, because he says greatness is consistency. So, are you producing results consistently? Are you creating a winning culture? And are you understanding the positive momentum that's keeping your team there, that's keeping the morale high? Do you have a reputation for making things happen? And that starts attracting better recruits. I don't know. That's a step up. Another way, like, do you lead by developing people? This is most really good coaches. This is what they do. And you know that. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just hoping to refresh some of the things that you know. And are you helping your players develop further? Sure, you understand now that your players are the most important thing, and they help you carry out your goals as a professional, as a coach, or your career aspirations. Great. And now you're helping your players and assistant coaches become leaders. You have some ability inside you that just helps you recognize that your assistant coaches are good at certain things, and you make sure that you provide the help and resources for them to do that really, really well. Well, now you're a step up. And we know the great coaches, they're here, and that's the pinnacle of leadership. And you don't really know if you get there until you get there. We should all strive to get there. I know I do, as a coach and as a human as well. The pinnacle of leadership and coaching is, we have that reputation of excellence. You have people following you, and they're in turn they're leaders for who you are and what you represent. And you've been able to build a legacy that goes beyond your team, beyond your conference, beyond your state, beyond your country, maybe. And those are questions that I think every coach needs to ask themselves. Where am I right now? Because that's just the premise of life. Know where you are right now and know where you're going. And as a coach, if you lead by position, that's a start maybe. But what are you doing to get to the pinnacle? What are you doing to leave that legacy worldwide? Excuse me. Leaders come in different sizes and shapes, and I've seen a lot of them. I mean, when I came from Romania when I was 15, and I couldn't speak any English. I'll be 40 this year. I came to Canada, and I played for the greatest high school basketball coach in our country, Coach Mark Walton, and I played for him. And then I went to Coastal Carolina and played for Pete Strickland and Gannon Baker, and these guys are just drop knowledge bombs on me for the past 25 years. And these are some of the things I learned from these guys in the basketball world. And all of them had an ability to connect. Just every great coach that I've been around has that ability to connect, has an ability to reach the player, to get in here before they teach anything. They got inside my heart to unlock my mind. They built trust that can't be broken easily. I mean, my high school coach, we talk weekly, Coach Walton. Pete Strickland, just talked to him the other day. I mean, Gannon Baker, almost too much. You know what I mean? But that's the relationships that we built because they were able to get into my heart. And these guys always seem to relate to their audience. And it's not just them, but these are my direct experiences. And they make sure that they get in. They make sure that they get into your spirit, into your heart. But they always make it clear that they're not your friend. They make it really clear that they want to understand your story, that they want to understand where you're coming from, and they're going to help you get to where you want to go. And that leads into connections. Like, these guys are able to connect with their players. I'm able to connect with my players. A lot of you are able to connect with your players. And a lot of coaches would email in, and I run the mentorship side of Gannon Baker coaching, the mentorship program for Gannon Baker. And some of the things that Gannon talks about that I've learned over the years and other greats that I've got to be around, people like Muffin McGraw, Mike Bray, just coaches, just good coaches that know their stuff, is they have charisma. That's your personality. That's your sense of humor. Maybe your sense of dry humor. Maybe your sense of intensity. Maybe you have the ability to entertain while you teach. I don't know, whatever it is, but you got to have that. And you got to be able to have fun with your players and crack some jokes, but at the same time, make sure that your intensity's up, that you're tough on them. And Gannon always says, there's no drill for this. You got to figure it out. You either have it or you strive to get it. And I think the more we read and the more the world of coaching evolves, the more we see people trying to learn how to build their charisma, how to figure themselves out. And it goes back to the first question I asked you. You know what I mean? If you love yourself, then you know who you are. And if you know who you are, then your charisma is good. And that's how you strive to get it, because you understand who you are as a human. There's different approaches. We can approach the players on the court differently than we approach them off the court. Can you make your practices fun, challenging? Can you be creative and still get done what you need to get done? Again, not to talk about my own history, but it's what makes me be who I am. Is I played for three guys that they never had boring drills. Never. I mean, we were always engaged, always practicing things with a new look. Was it the training different between the three of them? 100%. Were they able to go off the plan and innovate and without preparing? I think so. at least it didn't look like they ever panicked when we didn't respond. And, their character was always telling the truth. Coach Wallen was firm on never swearing, never using cuss words. Pete Strickland and Gannon Baker, these guys tell you the truth. They never badmouth other coaches. They never badmouth your teammates. Criticism, of course, 100%. It's needed. You got to hear that. But, they're always professional. And their authenticity, and your authenticity as a coach, people are, all of you get on here, it's what's going to keep them engaged. Your players know you. They know what makes you you. They know when you're fake. They know when you're real. They know when you're getting on them, when it's serious. They know when you're joking. So you're not, by you accepting that you need to take a look in the mirror and get better, doesn't make you any less of a leader. It actually makes you a better leader, because they know, like your players know. Your players know when you don't know. Your players know when you're faking. So you might as well figure out who you are and just be you and lead the way you know how to lead. And never sugarcoat things. Tell them the right stuff. One thing that my mentor said, praise the players in public. Always praise them in public and then criticize in private. You got to be aware of their sensitivities. Always teach, don't yell. Are you going to yell? Sure. Are you going to get loud? Sure. Are you going to get aggressive when you give some sort of instructions when they didn't get it right the first 5 times you taught it? Yeah, of course you will. But don't yell. Never yell. And those are just some of the things that we got to check in with ourselves. But a vision, if we don't have a vision, then we can't lead. Then we can't lead through sport. Then we can't lead on the court and off the court. And one of my great mentors, like I said, Pete Strickland, always said, and it's stuck with me, and it's always said, it's not what you do, it's what you emphasize. One more time, it's not what you do, it's what you emphasize. And sticking to your vision and mission statement as a coach every single day on and off the court, it's what's going to make you great. Gannon taught me that your routine will produce results. This guy's an absolute beast of a human being at 47 years old. And why? Well, he's got a routine, and his routine is his routine. It doesn't matter if he's in Melbourne Beach, Florida, or in Beijing, China, or in Berlin, Germany. It doesn't matter where he is. This guy's routine is impeccable, and I learned so much by just watching him. He never even had to impose this on me, because the message is, if you want to produce anything of value, well, you have to be consistent in your self-discipline. And these are things that you just do daily to stay sharp, wise, healthy, passionate, energetic, and strong. And especially right now, we're stuck inside. So what are you doing? Are you posting push-up challenges and game face memes, or are you actually reading books and participating in these seminars and getting yourself better, right? So as a leader and a coach, you got to keep doing that. You got to make sure. And one of my biggest things that help me every day is just self-reflection. Every morning, you got to do it. Maybe every night, doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, but you got to make sure that you self-reflect. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what drives you and what challenges you. Because if you don't know those things, then you don't know how to approach life as a leader. I learned at 30 years old, that it's discomfort that makes me tick. Heck, I don't want anybody that's playing for me or training with me or looking to be mentored by me as a coach to take that long to figure out what drives them and what challenges them. I learned through trial and error. So I think it's our job to be great leaders and help our players figure out what drives them, what they don't know, what challenges them. So being a great coach, being a great leader, the formula, you've heard it. If you haven't, it's around. You got to learn. To be a great leader, to be a great coach, you got to learn. You got to serve your players. And you got to continuously self-develop. Because when you're really, really good, then everybody around you is really, really, really good. And as a result, you're always going to be where you need to be. You're here, you're where you are today because you deserve it. Good or bad, you deserve to be where you are. It's on you. It's nobody else's. And our players need to understand that. So our job as coaches is simple. Just create a supportive structure that encourages people and our players to act on their best interest. It's no secret that the human brain just craves affirmation. We're built that way. We want to check our post and see how many likes we have. We want to, it's like neuroscientific research that's been carried out over the last couple of decades, I think. And it's shown that the brain responds positive to emotional feedback. These guys are way smarter than me, though, by the way. So I don't know the whole research, but it's out there and it's hard evidence. And, somebody comes off the court and you're like, great job. Nice game. Way to play. Good workout out there. I mean, those are simple statements that they don't do enough. They don't reach anywhere. We need as coaches to focus on providing affirmations. We need to tell them comments that help strengthen their beliefs in themselves. Because by giving them affirmations, not those throwaway compliments of good game, good job, good shot. If we're giving them real affirmation, not just a throwaway compliment, they're going to feel more confident. They're going to say, hang on, this coach believes in me. This coach really wants me to do well. So you accompany these players through to this process and offering constant reinforcement through your constructive feedback when it's deserved, of course. Then you give them a higher praise when they do more than that. I mean, listen, if you want to compliment someone, you got to know your players. You can't compliment me if you don't know me. That's why I started the way I started, because I don't want to just hop on here and start talking. I need you to know what I do. I need you to know why I'm qualified to speak to you about leadership through sport. So now you know me, and I'm hoping that if you hear something that doesn't jive, or if you hear something that's good, you let me know. Hey, Mihai, here's an email. I was on your call. Whatever you said there doesn't make sense. Great. I'm going to learn from you. So if you compliment your players, you have to make sure that you know at least a little bit something about them. We all love to be praised for things that matter to us. Your players care about basketball. Your players want to be there. So why not make them feel good? I mean, it's the best way to communicate support. Focus on what they really care about. Focus on their strengths. And again, this is not new information. You all know that you have about 4 different types of players that come into your practices, that come for your teams and are on your teams. And you always have the doer. It's that player that gets things done. Most of the times, insensitive about the rest of the team, just gets it done all the time for the team. So you can do one of those simple compliments because this player is not changing. They're always going to just do. So a simple good job to them works. Then you have your second type of players, your advocates. It's your players that are all about the team, all about the inclusiveness, organizing the team parties, setting up the team chats, playlists for warm-up. You know those players, right? It takes care of all the team. It's always high-fiving everybody, picks people up off the floor. You can thank them for always keeping the team morale up because that's what they do. So praise them for what they do. They're going to love that. They're going to love that you're recognizing their inner capabilities of being a good teammate. You have the idealist. You know, the big dreamers, it's all about integrity. They'll never step. They'll always do 3.5 hours of study hall, even if they only got to do 3. They'll run, you know, an extra suicide on their day off if you don't do one. Those people, right? Those teammates. So just compliment them by thanking them for always making sure the integrity of the team's intact, and for them following your culture and always doing more that they're asked for. You have to recognize that in them. If they just get a good job, they're not satisfied. You're not reaching them. You're not complimenting what they're meant to do for your team. And then we're all dealing with the challengers. You know, they'll question the status quo, but not in a bad way, right? Why do we practice before a road trip? Why can't we eat at a nice restaurant? You know, they're more looking for new solutions and approaches that, you know, you might get ideas from them. So just always thank them for emphasizing how valuable you found their ideas. And those are just, that's the tip of the iceberg, because we don't have all the time in the world to get deep into this. But, you know, how do we get there? It's out there. It's up for debate, because some coaches I study claim that it's the mind. Others argue it's the heart, and some said, hey, listen, it's the soul. I don't know. The jury's still out, but here's some things that we do know. Whatever the core is, it's where our deepest values reside. And we got to focus on that. And that's some just effective leaders and effective communicators just know. When they seek, like as a coach, when you want to give affirmation to one of your players, you have to speak to their most cherished values. You have to know what they value as a member of your team and speak to that. And then your culture will take care of the rest. Your culture will take care of the personal discipline habits. Don't expect things to be handed to you. You know, the old John Wooden, you know, put your socks on the right way. Character always trumps talent. You know all these things. I don't need to go through them, because, you know, winning takes talent, and to repeat it, it takes character. It's just, it's knowledge that you all know that I don't need to touch on today by any means. Stacking habits, though, it's something that you got to emphasize to them. And how do we stack habits? Well, there's a saying, right, that attitude's everything, but I don't think it is. I don't think attitude is not everything, but it's 100% the one thing that can make a difference in your player's life or our life as a coach at any given time. Simple. I mean, it's the difference maker in order for somebody to be a great teammate, great leader, a great winning mentality. And as coaches, it's our job to teach our players what the attitude difference makers are. We all have challenges. And if you say you don't, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to me and everybody in this forum and everybody else around you. Because challenges are part of our life. We all respond to things differently because of our upbringing. I'm not going to expect somebody who was born and raised in South Carolina to react to things the same way that me. I was born and raised in an Eastern Communist country. It just doesn't work. We're going to respond differently. But understand that because of the way your players are brought up, they see things not as they are, but as who they are. So getting caught up in where we come from and what lies behind us and the mistake we made and what comes, we expect you to be this amazing senior player. Well, it's not realistic. Let them figure that out. Let them figure out who they are and how they're going to react to things. You just got to set your culture and you got to lead them through this. So don't paint any crazy pictures for them, and don't let them paint any crazy pictures, because at the end of the day, what lies inside of us is what matters. That's all that matters. And help them figure that out. Help them figure out how to navigate through these attitude disruptors. I heard a speaker, which you guys all probably are familiar with, John Maxwell, speak about, some of these attitude disruptors. And he had a whole bunch of them, but I wanted to chunk down. And when I go and speak to coaches, I bring them 5, because I think these 5, if we teach our athletes and our players how to deal with these 5 attitude disruptors, we're going to have a better team. We're going to make better people. We're gonna increase everything I talked about earlier. So first thing that we need to teach them how to navigate and how to understand or disrupt is change, because it's the greatest challenge that we face on a daily basis, and we can't avoid it. They need to know that you can't avoid change. It's been with us from the beginning. It's not leaving. It's the only constant in life, right? And if there's no change on our teams, by the way, on our school, on our campuses, it's your fault. It's the leader's fault. It's always the leader's fault. Always. Maybe their ego got in the way. Maybe their unwillingness to get better got in the way. I don't know. But if there's no change on a team, on a school level, on a conference level, on a national level, whatever it is, it's the leader's fault. Always. So teach your student athletes to determine what change. Determine what's going to be an ongoing change in their life. And they have to understand they got to make a commitment to pay the price. There's going to be things based on their values, based on that first question again. Love yourself first, who you are, know who you are. If you figure that out, then there's things that you're never going to change. There's things that you're not willing to change. Make them understand what change is. Teach them to simplify it. Teach them to break it down into small, manageable pieces. Second thing you got to teach them to deal with is discouragement. I mean, we all get discouraged, and our attitude just begins to sag. But teach them. They don't know. Look where they come from, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what their socioeconomic status is, right? The world is a different place. However, we got to do our job here. I've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. And don't let their attitude sag. There's no reason to dwell on things. It's life. Hey, guess what? Life is happening 24/7. Takes up all your time, all your energy. So you can splat or you can bounce right back up. It doesn't matter. Understand how you deal with discouragement. See the right people. See lifters, not downers. Oh man, I'm not playing. Can you believe I'm not playing? Well, you want that person to say, you're not playing because you're no good. You don't want that person to say, yeah, I agree. I can't believe coach is not playing you. No. Teach them to remove themselves from that person because they don't need to be there. That's a downer. Get a lifter. Hey, man, let's get in the gym so you can play some more. Let's get in the gym and get some shots up. Let's work on your footwork. Let's work on your passing. Let's work on you can't set screens. I don't know, whatever it is, but you need that person. They need to find that person, not the person that's a downer. And I think also with the discouragement piece is we got to teach them how to talk to themselves. A lot of players are listening, right? They're internalizing. They're letting things play in their mind, and they're not talking to themselves enough. And when they start talking, they start making the right decisions. Third attitude disruptor. Problems. Simple. I mean, we all have them. We all have them. It's just how we deal with them. And just don't be a problem spotter. I was part of an interviewing panel for a coaching job this past week, and there was one coach that decent resume was deserved to be there. But guess what? Problem spotter. When you're a problem spotter, you don't get the job. And when you're a problem spotter as a player, you're not getting the job done either. You have to solve the problems. Define the problem. So teach them to define a problem. If you can do something about it, it's a problem. So do something about it. You're not playing because you can't shoot. Go work on your shot. Boom, fixed. You're not playing because this game, you're just not big enough. You're not fast enough. You're not tall enough. You're not going to play this game. The other thing we're playing is all bigs. That's the fact of life. There's nothing you can do about it. So they need to understand that's not a problem. Teach them to anticipate problems. And then just, it's hard, but embrace problems as potential opportunities. Fourth thing we need to teach them to deal with is fear. I won't spend much time on it. You all know what fear is. Exaggerates itself. It's not real. It's fake. Causes distractions. And they just need to know that you can't fix it and you can't get rid of it. Simple. Michigan did a study. I think University of Michigan did a study and said that something like 65% of our fears are totally unwarranted. 20% of our fears are in the past, and 20% of our fears are petty. And that's just what it is. So it's just the price for progress. Feed the right emotion, feed the positive part, don't feed the fear, and you'll just starve that emotion, and it's not going to show up. And the fifth attitude disruptor is failure. Yeah, we're all afraid of failing, but get out your own way. Don't worry about the competition. Worry about you. And what can you do to be a good teammate? What can you do to be a good teammate without self-sabotaging? Because when you self-sabotage and you expect failure, you expect that you're going to fail on that test, you expect that you're not going to get playing time, you're going into your sophomore year and you haven't put on any weight, muscle weight, you go into your sophomore year and there's a freshman coming in that's a stud. And I mean, you're just self-sabotaging when you think that way. And you're basically expecting failure, and then human behavior it's just going to happen. It's the law of human behavior, right? So teach them to deal with that. Teach them to deal with their failures. We learn from failing. Change your attitude, the way you deal with it. Change your vocabulary. Oh man, I didn't get any playing time. Hey, I didn't play yesterday because I wasn't good enough. Hey, coach, what do I need to do to get better so I can play? I failed on my test. Whatever the case might be, just help them change their attitude. Make them understand the failure is just a learning experience. And then once we teach them to deal with these 5 attitude disruptors, we get better people. We get better teammates. We get better basketball players because there's nothing that inhibits them. And because you've helped them figure out how to know who they are, you help them figure out how to deal with some of these disruptors that are constant in their life. You done your homework and you figured out what they like, what sort of affirmations you need to give them. And then you've already crafted your vision, your culture, the way you run your team, the way you play, the way you operate on and off the court. Well, guess what? Now you've built relationships. Now you know your players. Now they know that it's okay to open their mouth to ask for help, that they know that you care. And ordinary coaches will always make ordinary choices. They're always going to allow others to expect more of them than they expect of themselves. When the AD hires you, if you let them expect more of you than you expect of yourself, you're not going to be able to leave the world a better place. You're not going to be able to leave a legacy. So last thing I'm going to tell you before I open up to questions is be good, do good, be happy, live happy, control your emotions and your reactions. Help your players be great leaders. You don't want followers. You help your players be great leaders, you leave a legacy, your legacy. And there's no reason why anybody else should be writing that legacy for you. Simple. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I know there's some questions here from Keith Brooks. Are you taking this over, Lee? Are you asking the questions?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask Keith's question. Do you think mental skill building on a high school level is a vital asset?
100%. I think it's a very, very high value asset, even before high school. I have 2 kids. My daughter's 10.5, my son's 9, and they're starting to play some sports and dabbling into them. And yes, understanding their mind, understanding how they operate, understanding how to control their emotions and reactions. I think it's a very, 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 very helpful.
So we got time we got time for one or two more questions. Just throw it in the Q&A as we're getting ready to wrap up here with what's been a really, I think, a great, we have a mindset and characteristics and things that you can do to be better in every day. I think that Mihai has done a great job in outlining that. So we've got, here's the contact information. Strongly recommend you stay connected and continue to learn and grow together. And we do have a couple of questions here. How do you deal with long losing streaks, changing the players instead?
Well, I don't think you're changing their players' mindset on a long losing streak. I think you're changing their mindset before the season starts, and you anticipate that might happen, and you make sure that their minds stay in the right place. But let's say that you are losing. Let's say that you're on a long losing streak, and the morale of your team is going down, and you have to find different ways to attack the situation. And I think most coaches fail at putting the leadership onto them. Walk into the locker room, go ahead, go without coaches, and they usually sort it out. These players, they're smart. They'll know who the leader is. I suggest don't ever appoint captains. Let them figure out who the captains are, because it's easy to figure out who your captain is when you're in the locker room. We've all been in the locker room. We've all played on teams, and when all the eyes look to the person that's talking, well, that's your captain. So, coach, if you're losing a lot of games in a row, look within. Maybe go to that leader and say, hey, what kind of suggestions do you guys have? What do you think we're doing well? What do you think we're doing wrong? You're not enabling, and you're not adapting their style. However, you're listening. And with your knowledge and with your vision and with your culture, you're able to adjust and get out of that losing streak by getting them involved. And that'll get their mind in the right place as well.
And our last question that we have, can you just go over the 5?
Whoever that is, just send me an email. My email's on the screen. Just send me an email. I'll send you, anybody that's on right now, just send me an email. I'll send you a nice document and a nice workbook for you to have to do with your players, for sure.
And we'll pivot to this as the last question. Brad, what do you do if you're not in a leadership position, a culture about maintaining is not growing?
Leave. Leave. Really, I mean, the leader is going to be the one that makes the suggestion. I'm joking, right? You don't want to leave unless you've exhausted all your options, but try to change. You become the leader. You use your mindset. You use your assets as a leader. You use your inner leadership skills to try to get to that leader. And if you don't get through, and we've all been there, you got to do what's right for you. And if what's right for you is being in a winning program and a growth culture and a growth mentality, well, you're going to have to leave, because otherwise you're just existing. When you're just existing, you're really just kind of bunting your way through life. And I'm not sure any of us want that.
And that's our time. Unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to Mihai, but fantastic job. Definitely connect with him. And we get ready as we set up for our next clinic here